Madam Speaker, the Honorable Acting Prime Minister, Cabinet colleagues, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Members of Parliament on both sides of the House, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Bola Binaka, Ram Ram, Salam Alaikum, and good afternoon to you all. I wish to start by acknowledging Almighty God for the opportunity for me to serve our beloved nation in Parliament and as a Cabinet Minister for a second term. I also wish to acknowledge the unrelenting support from my wife, Olukali Simbale, and my grandson for inspiring me all the way, my family and my campaign team, from the Honorable Prime Minister and the Fiji First Movement, and all those who helped me secure a seat in this august House. It is by the grace of these fundamental pillars of support in my life that has brought me here today. No member should take the roots of their support for granted, and in light of recent events, it's something we should all have the humility to appreciate before throwing up our hands and walking out. It is our job and our elected duty to do the work of this House inside of this House. Madam Speaker, may I also extend my own congratulations on your reappointment as Speaker, and on the Honorable Vina Bhatnagar's appointment as the Deputy Speaker. I also congratulate the increasing number of women parliamentarians on both sides of the House. As a father and grandfather, witnessing the rise and empowerment of you and so many women in our great nation brings great pride to my heart. The fact that my granddaughter will have so many doors open to her, doors that have been closed in Fiji for generations, is truly a remarkable achievement for Fiji. Madam Speaker, while His Excellency the President's address, much like the many doors being opened to women in our society, shows us a Fijian spirit of positivity and progress. I have been severely disappointed to see a much darker and deeply negative energy being channeled in the remarks of the opposition. Yesterday, we had members speaking of differences between the Fijian people on the basis of ethnicity. That is what they are wholly focused on, and instead of moving us forward. This drags us down as a nation. On the side of the House, we are not constantly harping on about ethnicity, not because we do not respect the Itoke culture, but because Fiji First is not a single issue, racially driven party. Instead, we are focused on what we have in common, a shared love for Fiji and a commitment to Fijian progress. And that focus on a much bigger picture is exactly what has brought us to where we are today. Madam Speaker, this week, members of the opposition have claimed that this government is ignoring or even oppressing indigenous people. As a proud Itoke man, Madam Speaker, I find this to be not only dishonest, but the exact opposite of the truth. Make no mistake, Madam Speaker, the rich and unique history of the Itoke is reaching new heights because of the economic progress that the Fiji First government has achieved. And it will be forever preserved in books and online precisely because this government has provided the education and access to technology that will allow this. It is because of this progress of Fiji First and the 2013 Fijian Constitution that our culture, the culture of the Itoke, is more secure and more protected than ever. Madam Speaker, let's not kid ourselves. Without the last decade of progress, the brightest and most fortunate in Fiji would be living for greener pastures overseas. Today, Fijians of all ethnicity, including and especially the Itauke, are finding that the grass is very green right here at home. As opportunities to achieve wealth of success in Fiji never been greater. Fiji's booming era of economic development under Fiji First is the reason that a new, larger generation of Itauke scholars and political leaders will exist to be the keepers and guardians of each indigenous community's unique culture, customs, traditions, and language. Madam Speaker, let us rise above instilling fear of some victim mentality being spread by the opposition. We are better than this. I see this in the Ministry of Forestry firsthand. All throughout Fiji, vanuas are not being destroyed, as the opposition would lead you to believe. They are being built up by our nation's economic development, and specifically by forward-thinking programs and grants from the Fiji First government. Little Itauke boys and girls are benefiting from our prosperity more than ever, just like Indo-Fijian boys and girls, and all the others who make up our nation's rich fabric. And as we march forward, they will continue to do so for generations, so long as we choose to continue to live in harmony, instead of creating fear and chaos among each other. The benefits of this harmonious existence can be seen not only in Fijian society, but in the very forest that my ministry oversees. Each forest is an ecosystem that thrives when the right balance is struck. And all of the many diverse parts of the ecosystem not only coexist, but help each other grow stronger. Meanwhile, if things are thrown out of balance, the entire forest can suffer or even die out. Madam Speaker, the opposition would try to make you believe that Fiji First does not believe different types of plants or trees exist. That is not the case at all. We just know that things here in Fiji work best when we all work in harmony. And in this metaphor, we just have a proven record in growing forests, while they have a record of burning them down. The proof is in the pudding, as they say. Madam Speaker, and Fiji First track record speaks for itself. When it comes to the Ministry of Forestry, the success that we have accomplished continues to break new records. Our forests are producing more timber, yielding higher profits, and paying out more money to land-owning units. As you have already heard this week, but only from one side of the aisles, from ministry to ministry, all across the board, this type of achievements are undeniable. When you see a pattern of growth like this, it is not by some coincidence. It is the result of responsible and visionary economic management. I congratulate and salute our Prime Minister, the Honorable Borenge Bainimarama, for everything Fiji has accomplished under his leadership. We owe him a great deal of gratitude for the economic and political stability that many take for granted today. And I pray that history should never forget that. Madam Speaker, as my ministry looks to the future, We will strive to be a leader in continuing this immense and undeniable progress of national development. We will expand the forestry industry to grow and evolve alongside Fiji's economy as a whole, providing wide-ranging support from seedlings to new research and development to protection from new environmental threats and fires. We will support players of all sizes, from large operators like Fiji Pine to small and medium-sized enterprises to new businesses started by the new generation of empowered craftsmen and entrepreneurs filling our communities. And most importantly, we will do so in a way that is forward-thinking and sustainable, striking a balance between the forestry sector's contribution to our economic growth and its cultivation to meet current and future needs. This way, both our environment and our economy will continue to flourish for many generations to come. In this respect, the Ministry has successfully committed 2 protected forest areas to the Queen's Commonwealth canopy, one of which was recently dedicated by the Duke of Sussex, Prince Henry, during his visit just over a month ago. This initiative has strengthened Fiji's commitment to conservation and put the global spotlight on Fiji as a leader in preserving our precious forest. Because while our forest, when managed responsibly, can yield great benefit, we must also value them as the lungs of our nation, the providers of the very air that gives us life. Madam Speaker, allow me to respond to the comments made by Honorable Bulanauda yesterday on the pine industry. Madam Speaker, Honorable Bulanauda is out of touch with reality. And probably his memory is stuck at the darker days of the 90s and early 2000s, when he was a minister under the Ngarase government. Times have changed. However, their lives have not. Madam Speaker, in this honorable house today, I would like to tell Honorable Bulanauda, stop spinning your lies and embrace the truth. This is only the honorable thing for you to do as a member of Parliament. Honorable Bulanauda will better serve the people of Fiji in doing this. Madam Speaker, allow me to state the facts where the pine industry now, as compared to the 1990s and early 2000s. The pine industry was on the verge of collapse. Over the last 7 years, the pine industry has been transformed and has resulted in record profits. This year, a whopping record profit of more than $35 million is being forecasted. This is unheard of by a company that was making losses after losses. The pine industry has paid debts of $57 million in the last 8 years. These debts include a European Investment Bank loan borrowed in 1986, plus debts to local financial institutions like the Fiji Development Bank, WASPEC, and the Fiji National Provident Fund. Today, the Pine Group, for all intents and purposes, is debt-free. The only debt Fiji Pine is now repaying is the interest-free government debt. The amount is $7 million, which was borrowed between 1990 to 2001. The money used to pay off the loans is real money, not paper or monopoly money, as the other side of the House has been said. The loans have not been refinanced. They have been paid off from operational cash generation. Lease rental has been increased from $4 per hectare in the late 1990s to $13 per hectare. Stampage has been increased from 3% in late 1990s to 12% now. Madam Speaker, in the late 1990s and early 2000s, landowners had stopped giving their consent for the renewing of the expiring leases. Why, Madam Speaker? Because there were no returns to the landowners. This is the truth, Madam Speaker. Fiji Pine has now rebuilt trust with the landowners. The renewal of 26,575.9 hectares of expiring leases in the last 7 years is testimony to the rebuilding of their trust. In return, Fiji Pine has repaid the trust by giving returns and bonuses to the landowners. Until 2012, landowners did not receive any returns from the operations and profitability of the Fiji Pine Group. 2013 was the first year when landowners received this return with a humble sum of $347,440. This year, the return to landowners increased to a whopping $7 million. Madam Speaker, following this record payout, Osea Naiqamu in his Facebook page came with another episode where he asked where the money came from. He has also falsely alleged that the company did not have audited accounts for many years. He further mentioned that management will be held responsible for giving these returns to the landowners. Madam Speaker, the fact is that when Fiji Pine is doing well for its landowners, the opposition cannot sleep well and have to make up stories and lies to try to undermine the success of Fiji Pine. Fiji Pine has replanted 14,764 hectares of land in the past 7 years. By doing so, we are rebuilding the future of our landowners and their future generations. Prior to that, no replanting was done for over a decade. Fiji Pine and Tropicoods Limited are the only entities in the Pacific Islands that are Forest Stewardship Council certified for its sustainable and best forestry practices over the last 5 years. Madam Speaker, this is international recognition by an independent body that will support the high market value price for our pine industry. What story can the opposition make out of this? Madam Speaker, today Fiji Pine's Group Factory Capital, with its subsidiary in Tropicood Industries and Tropicood Products Limited, state-of-the-art, the old and obsolete factory machine has been entirely replaced. Altogether, $16 million worth of upgrading works at the new factory, such as the state-of-the-art Somali Plaza, was built with operational cash flows generated without a single cent of borrowing. Madam Speaker, during the election campaign, the opposition spooned new sets of lies by saying that this transformation of pine industry was done through the US $50 million climate fund grant. Let me tell the opposition categorically that Fiji Pine did not receive a cent of any grant to achieve this transformation. In fact, I checked with the company yesterday, and I was told that despite paying all the costs, yes, the company still has $15 million in term deposit. By the end of this year, they are forecasting to have about $30 million cash at bank. Yes, this transformation is unbelievable. It saddens me when the opposition tries to diminish the phenomenal achievements of Fiji Pine through misinformation and lies. I beg the opposition to celebrate this achievement. Let's give credit where credit is due for the sake of our future generation. In conclusion, Madam Speaker, my ministry will rise to the challenge issued by His Excellency the President and do our part to help make our nation greater for the benefit of all Fijians today, tomorrow, and far into the future. And each time we look to our forests, may we well be reminded of the many social, environmental, and economic benefits of a system that works together in harmony in order to thrive. May God bless our beloved nation, Fiji. Thank you, and Vinagapuri.